Until
Pardon?
this class.
Have? Okay.
I like cooling.
Been here at the KW office for 11 years.
You were Sean Hartwig's filter.
Parents realtor. Yep.
You got to see Sean when he was a little boy. Now look at him.
He's literally a teenager. All right, so I'm going to start. We're going to do listing presentations. I am not probably nearly as good of a teacher as Wendy. Wendy's like a natural born teacher. So I'm just going to go through what I do. What I do is not necessarily standard. Everybody's got different ways of doing things. So here's how I do it. At the end, I'm going to show you my actual presentation that I do on my computer. And if you guys want, I'll be happy to share it with you. Have some sort of a template from which to start. So, is it yeah.
No. I think she's being very stingy on price right now.
So that leads me to like the first part of the listing presentation. Super important is pre-qualifying people on the phone. You want to know why they're selling, what their motivation is. Seemingly aren't a ton of people in this market that are selling just because they might want to move to a house that is a nicer house or has a pool. I think it's starting to come back a little bit, but most people, it seems to me, have a reason. A growing family, a divorce, going into a retirement home, job transfer, that type of thing. But it's super important to find out why people are moving. A lot of our job, I think, is helping people sort of get out of their own way. When they are being stingy on price, when they're not willing to make repairs that they need to make. We need to sometimes have that in the back of our mind, have a conversation with them to remind them about ultimately what they're trying to accomplish. And even more so, what their life looks like if they don't accomplish their goals. I can't remember the exact quote, but it's, people are more motivated by fear of something not happening than they are by the actual desired outcome. So sometimes it helps to have to have a difficult conversation with someone and say, just think about what happens if we have to put your house back on the market and it's another 30, 60 days before you get an offer and another 30 days to close. How much time does that cost you in the meantime, time and expense? So, the first thing is just asking deep questions. Find out why they're moving, and then just make a note of sort of what that pain point is and what happens if they don't accomplish their goals. Ask about their prior experience. Ask if they sold it. Ask how it went. And most of the time, they're going to tell you about things that didn't go right for them. And specifically ask them, what could have gone better for them in the transaction, and just note that, because when you meet with them, you want to be able to address those things proactively. By that time, they're going to forget that you asked them about that, and so you're going to show up and you're going to have the answers to the things that made them frustrated in the past. A lot of those things are based on miscommunication. The number one complaint that people have from their list agents is that they get their house listed at the side of the yard and never hear from them again. So you got to have a plan to address that, or whatever their complaint is. Just find that out proactively and address it. Then ask as much about their home as you possibly can. You want to be able to show up and know pretty closely what the house is worth. that's the first thing, the main thing that they are going to be most interested in. It's hard when you show up and the house is vastly different than what you were expecting. Sometimes you gotta make a call on the fly. Once in a while, you try to avoid it, but you say, I have to do some more research. But most people are expecting by the time you get there, they want to know what their house is worth. So ask as little as possible. Obviously, the basics: the bedrooms, the bathrooms, how old it is, ask how long they've been there, ask them about the updates that they've done. They'll tell you about some of the major things like the furnace and that type of thing, but ask about cosmetic updates, flooring on. Anything to your kitchen, all the appliances, your bathroom's been updated at all. You'll get a good sense pretty quickly about what they've done and what they have. If they say, yeah, we updated the kitchen, find out what that means. Does that mean that they put in a new stove, or does that mean they put in new cabinets and everything?
Do you go into how, like, are you asking about the roof? Are you asking about the last time it was painted, gutters, like, do you get into all of that?
I asked about the roof, the furnace, depending on the age of the house, the windows. It's a big inspection issue. Usually not a big issue when it comes to listing a house. But just so I know what some potential roadblocks are. If it's got older wood windows, you're likely going to have some things to discuss in inspection. So yes, but again, volunteer that type of stuff anyway because it's expensive stuff. And then again, I want to know the cosmetics because I think most buyers base their decision on emotions and they walk in, regardless of how old the furnace is the first thing they see. They see the new flooring, they see the new cabinets, that type of thing. And that's how they either go, oh, yes, or, all right, so we got to replace the flooring. So I think you just want to know as much of that before you get to the house as possible so that you are prepared to know how much you think that house is worth. They may tell you about other houses in the neighborhood. That's a good thing. You know, a lot of people say the house across from me sold for $465 last year. I think that house is smaller than mine. That will give you an idea of where the head is too. Because I also think, in addition to knowing, wanting to figure out how much you think it's worth, somebody else is going to do the CMA for you. So I'm just kind of going into the psychology of getting the listing here. You want to know what their expectations are and what they think their house is worth. And ultimately, sometimes I'll just ask somebody, what do you think your house is worth? Sometimes somebody will say, sometimes they'll come out and tell you, well, Zillow says it's 465, but I don't think that's realistic. I think my house is nicer than blah, 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 whatever. So again, get that expectation in there. Sometimes people will say, that's why I'm happy. Fine. We'll work on it. So, have all that written down so that you would review it before you go to the appointment. Then, the day before the appointment, call or text people, like Amazon does or your doctor does 10 times before. You don't need to do it 10 times, but call to confirm the appointment before. Every great once in a while, you'll show up and somebody won't be there. Or forget they've made the appointment. If nothing else, it makes you look professional. Right on time. That's a simple one. I struggle with it, admittedly. But leave enough time so that you can get there and sit there for a moment, so that you can walk up exactly when you're ready. Look at the outside of the house as you approach. That's one. Off the trying to practice what I preach. A lot of times I'm running late and I get there and I'm not paying attention to it. And then at the end they say, what do we need to do to the outside? I'm like, so pay attention to it. Remove your shoes. I've made that mistake many times. There's a lot of punctures if you don't remove your shoes. They're going to get angry at you. And you just want to show respect for their house. All right, so here's where I differ from some people. The traditional Keller Williams method will tell you that suggest we go sit down at the kitchen and that maybe you've got some paperwork for them to fill out. That might be the ages of the furnace and roof and that type of thing. And you go to the house by yourself. I say let's go tour the house together. You can tell me about the things that you've done to it. You can ask questions, that type of thing. I see it as an opportunity to get to know people a little bit and just develop some rapport. I'm not a super high pressure kind of a guy. I lean a little bit more on being a nice person and just developing some rapport that people can ideally have some trust in me. Maybe find some things in common, make a little small talk. But take notes about everything. A lot of times people will start asking right away, what do we need to do? Do we need to take furniture out of this room? I talked to my wife, I told her to do this, or she do this, blah, blah, blah. You can answer those questions, try to pay attention to some of those things, but don't go crazy with it because it'll take so much time. And everybody will get bored by the end of the meeting. You don't want to be there for 3 hours.
I made that mistake before, but it was mainly like them talking a lot.
It's easy to do. I mean, I was at one yesterday for 2.5 hours, probably. I did not that much time. But I was almost late for my next appointment. That's fine. So you got to do what you got to do, particularly if you feel like it's going well. And they're going to listen to you. That's the thing. The two things that people are really wanting to know, way more than what you're going to do to list their house. List presentation. They want to know what do we need to do to prepare a house for sale and how much you so those are the two things that I address first. A little less on the exact specifics of everything we need to do. Once we have all agreed, I'm going to list the house, then they'll ask some more questions about what else we need to do. So let's take another walk. But go through the basics. So then I sit down and we'll have just a general quick recap of why they're moving, what their plans are, what their timing looks like, all the things that I've discovered up front. And then I immediately go into pricing. Okay, so again, not everybody does it this way. I personally think that nobody's listening to you until you have a price discussion. That's the biggest thing on their mind. You can give them the fanciest presentation in the world, they're sitting there going, "How much is it going to take?" So I want to get that out of the way right away. So CMAs are a different class. I will tell you that my CMA, I don't, for the most part, I don't have anything printed out, that type of thing, except for maybe a few listings. I will have pre-selected the properties that I think theirs are most comparable to, and that theirs are going to be in most competition with. Right in the DLC in the favorites section, and I just bring it up and I do the photos and the pricing and I listen to their comments. Most people pretty much self-discover. Yeah, this one's sold at 465. We renovated the bathrooms. We haven't done that. Pictures tell a lot of the story, I think. And it can really help you in your pricing. The real estate photos have gotten so good. Most houses look good online, look better than they usually do in person. But basically, we'll arrive at the price. A lot of times people have already said, yeah, I mean, I can see we need to be under 500 or whatever. But and then sometimes I'll say, where do you guys see yourself? In here now that you've seen these. Some people will say it, and a lot of times they're right where it needs to be. If not, then we have a little more in-depth discussion about this house does have the screen porch on the back and blah blah blah. So I'll leave them for my goal is to get them to that agreement that yes, $499 sounds like the right price. if at that point they seem like they're ready to go, I don't even bother to show them. I'll say, let me show you what that looks like in terms of your net proceeds. And I usually hit that before I go into the actual list presentation. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Okay. You can use whatever net proceed sheet you like. Various title companies have them. Probably one in some of our Indiana Association documents. I like this one. It's a creative design, but it's simple. So you go to summittitle.org. Titles right down there. And you don't have to create an account, but if you do, you can save all of your net sheets in there. So you hit create a net sheet, then the address of the property. You just fill in the blanks. This is going to be line 50. I use, a lot of times you expect that there would be negotiation. I just base this on the list price. If you know the loan balance rate, 649. You can add expenses. So if you talk about staging or something like that, $2,000 for staging and
Leaving the house, I cannot talk.
pick the closing date. I usually go just 45 days out from their list date and just explain to them the only reason this matters is because it relates to taxes based on this date. So this is vary a little bit based on your closing date. Closing fee. Closing fee is a one-time fee that title companies charge to close the transaction. It's usually $400 to $450. Some of it's $400. Our purchase agreements, 99% of the time it's split between buyer and seller. So you can choose seller or buyers for that. And these fees here directly on seller titles fees, and then this was a great place to have the commission discussion if necessary. If you haven't had it already and they haven't asked you any questions, talk about technically you're going to sign a contract with my office for 3%. The buyer's going to have the buyer will have the contract, but you need to set aside 3% because a buyer agent, the buyer is almost assuredly going to ask you to pay for the buyer agent fee. So I would just assume put this in here to be realistic so you know what to expect. And then got taxes, and then just hit calculate, and it'll show you based on purchase price. Here's the summary section. Purchase price minus your loan balance minus the total fees. This is your net proceeds. And then it itemizes them down here. I will go through this generally because a lot of people don't understand what this stuff is. So title insurance, I'll tell them it's technically negotiable. In our market, 99% of the time the seller pays it on the resale property. That and the search and exam fee. And then the deed preparation is the cost for an attorney preparing your deed and affidavit. Title services fee is basically a processing fee. CPL stands for closing protection letter. All title companies charge this. It's a fee for ensuring that they're handling their funds the correct way. Title enforcement fund of $5. You don't necessarily have to go through all this stuff. But here's the closing fee from the left side that's split between buyer and seller. Here's your cost for staging and cleaning, the split HOA management fees, and then real estate commissions, the listing office and the buyer agent, and then prorated real estate taxes. You guys remember that prorated real estate taxes? I usually kind of run through that with them at this point. People don't understand it. As a reminder, we pay them a year in arrears. So that's our net proceeds. And then our next step is to go through some listing documents, and I've got them right here. If you guys are ready to do that. I say, okay, let's do it. And let's do it. I don't even bother going to say, tell them all the fancy things you do to market and sell the house.
You usually need them to sign this, right?
I do. Yeah. So, the little secret is I will have documents printed out before I go to the house. Listing documents, not with the price building, but most things building. And I will generally have like 3 estimated net sheets. I put one where I think it's probably going to be, and then and kind of based on my conversation with them, and then I will have one that's lower and one that's higher, just to account for if the house is better or crappier than I expected.
So you print multiple of these.
I don't have them out in front of me. I magically pull the right one out from my briefcase and show them right there. And if it's completely off, I don't. I'll just tell them, here's what it is, and I'll send this. I'll send this to you an email later. Like the 2 listing appointments I went on yesterday, I did not have either one. One I had no idea what the house was like, and it was. They told me it was dated, but it was dated. And I don't want to do anything. Okay. And so I talked to them a realistic price. So, but generally try to have it available. If not, show it to them, and it's fine. Because the last thing you want is for somebody to be surprised at the end of the transaction and say, I wasn't planning on paying my buyer agent. I had this happen at the end of last year. I had one where the guy was like, I didn't realize I was paying the buyer agent. Clearly went through this, and signed this document that shows it. He still wasn't thrilled about it. I don't know why. But, he wasn't mad at me about it. I think he was mad at himself. Any questions about the net sheet here? Basically, it's just kind of plug and play.
How do you? Sorry. One thing I want to ask is, when do you usually ask them, like, how much do they owe on the mortgage?
It's a good idea to ask in the, up front, so you know it. That's one I could improve on.
General idea.
And if they don't, I'll just leave that one blank and just say, here's your net proceeds, and you're just going to need to tell me what your mortgage payoff is, and just subtract that from what's in there.
So when you present this to your client, you print this
Off, you said, but
you put it into DocuSign so that they can give you a signature.
so I print it off, and if I've got one that matches the price that we all agreed upon, I just have to sign it myself.
That's purchase price you do
The list price. So again, we said we've all agreed that 950 is a good listing price, and that's kind of what I thought going in. I'd probably have a 925, a 950, and a 975. And we get there, the house is what I thought it was, and the sellers are realistic about the price, and all agreed it's 950. If it's different, then I don't have them sign it there and say, I'll follow up and send you an estimate I'll send you this estimate of net proceeds by email. And then I go straight to the listing contract. Address commission.
She talked about lowering your commission.
I frankly, I don't, for the most part, I don't even mention it. And I find that, you know, if somebody wants to stop me and ask me a question, great. But 950, I probably wouldn't. But a lot of times you just go through it as sort of a matter of fact. And that's what it is. If anybody's ever going to ask a question,
I think from a knowledge, like for me personally, as I'm trying to build and understand the business, or understanding exactly what you said at 950, you probably wouldn't charge 3. So where's that break? Like when do you charge 3? When do you go down? I mean, I get it. When it's a more expensive house, you get more commission. So
once I'm over 700, probably I'm down to 2.5%.
One of the KW documents, so there's like a breakdown, like from this price to this price is 3%, and then
Yes.
at anything above this, you take off, whatever, like.
guide.
I mean, you guys being new and not necessarily capped and such, probably you probably need to ask the office of those questions.
When you're helping relatives, family, or friends, do you give them like an incentive that you're working with them? Like, do you discount, or do you usually like have them be on the even playing field with like everybody else?
Even. Yeah. I will, if I've got two sides of the transaction, I will reduce my listing fee by usually like 1%.
That's what Kevin does.
Sometimes it's a half or 3/4 or whatever, depending on what it is total. But that makes people happy, and it's a long business, it's a long game, and keep coming back to. So if it's 3%, but they're buying another house with me at usually the same or higher price, I'm pretty confident I'm going to get 3% on that side. I would write it specifically on the listing contract. If it's somebody that's like, well, we're going to buy a house, but we're going to wait a year or something like that, then I will charge them the full fee and say, on the purchase of your next house, I'll rebate back 1% of the listing fee on the site. Somebody for whatever reason, if you kind of feel funky about whether you're really going to buy a house with me or not, it just sort of depends. I rarely have to do that, but I'm pretty trusting with that kind of stuff, so don't necessarily do what I do. Like I've spent, I've spent a lot of time and effort with people without having a listing contract. Best practice to getting listing contracts. They're not going to be listing for 2 months. I will help them coordinate painters, stagers, and everything like that, and say, we get closer, we'll sign our listing contracts. Better practices to do that. Even though technically it's not enforceable until the actual date of the listing contract. It just people have made that commitment. So err on that side. I'm just, most of my people just call me now, so it's not like competing and not worried about that kind of thing. It has happened where people have, well, my neighbor knocked on my door and they got somebody that they knew I was going to move, and they came and bought my house. Sorry. Slap myself on the wrist.
So your primary base of business at this point in your career is mostly working with sellers.
No, both. No, definitely. I prefer sellers. You can just work with more sellers at one time than you can with buyers. Because buyers just take time running house to house, and it just takes them time.
So I have a question about potential buyers that have
They are out of the state, but they want to sell their house here. How do you kind of mitigate all of that? So it's not occupied, but
they have some stuff that they want to get
out
out
of
of
the
it. How can I be a resource to them during that selling time? Should I be offering people who do removal
services.
services or but with these
Meetings.
meetings that you have, where you sign the listing agreements and go over the connect sheet, how would you kind of do that if you're not face to face with this person? Like Zoom meeting or like just on the phone?
I mean, you can, but I
Yeah.
don't. So, when it's that type of a thing, usually I mean, it'll be a phone call. I'll go take all the normal access to the property. I'll go take a look at it, and then call them back, have recommendations about what needs to be done. And then, again, depending on how you know them, I may or may not ask for a listing contract up front. You should, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and say, get your listing contract. What I'll do, I still do this with people locally. If I'm having a hard time meeting with them, like, oh, we can docu-sign it. I will fill in the whole listing contract, make it just a flat PDF, email it to them as a draft, and say, let's Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. We all get on the phone. That listing contract pulled up in front of you. We'll go through it together, and you can ask me any questions. And I do it. I spend a lot of time going through it.
That you've already populated.
Yep. And then once we're done, we'll say, okay, guys, I'm just going to format this and for signatures and DocuSign. I'll have it in your email. So again, in that situation, it sounds like it's got a couple months worth of work for it. Somebody may get stuff out, they get painted, cleaned. That stuff takes time. So estimated date. And then if you need to change it, just change it. But again, you get their signature on the listing contract. In their mind, they're committed. I've already listed my house. Somebody calls them about, does their neighbor know someone who might want to buy it? Go ahead and call you first. But yes, at that point, you have to figure out, ask around the office if you don't have resources. Everybody will have shared resources.
KW Future Millionaires Facebook page. Who do we like for X, Y, and Z? DM me. I got you, bro.
Junk removal, painting, all that stuff. Yeah. Then you become an incredible resource for them. It's a pain. All right. So if they're not ready to move forward yet, or they don't seem confident, then we move into, all right, how about I'll show you what I do this. Actually, what I do is ask them. Would you like to see what I need to do to help sell your house? And again, some people will say, no, at that point they might say, no, we don't need to see that. We're ready to go. But otherwise, then you go to it. I show that. This is what I'll send to you. Stop me anytime you guys got questions. Public speaker. This isn't super fancy. Mostly just talking points. And I'll tell you, I'll go through it. Usually, how I go through it with them. This is a screen that I will largely gloss over. Just tell them, you guys already know. I've been in business for a long time. I've got a lot of experience. I've sold a lot of houses. If you have any questions about this stuff, just let me know. And then I'm just on for you guys, have a slide like this, but you're going to have to rely on office statistics and use a lot of we in our office and our team and we're an office of over 200 agents and we sold X number of houses and blah, blah, blah. Most people at this point, I remember when I was a new agent, I was scared to death when somebody was going to ask how many houses I sold. And it happened.
I never get asked that.
Yeah. If you take, at this point, if you're kind of taking control of this presentation and the conversation, directing it the way you want to go, and I'll say, okay, so basically we've been all through this stuff. You're moving because you need to relocate to Iowa. You decided you were going to list your house at 950, so we're going to talk about the market. All right, so just as a review, Iowa just review this stuff. I mean, honestly, I have this in here just because I feel like sometimes it's important to have something that looks like a professional presentation. But, it's just a reminder, your house is ultimately worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. What you're willing to sell for it, too. It's not necessarily what Zillow says. And pricing it right up front. I will usually have this conversation during the pricing portion of it, so I will gloss over this. But this one is important. Pricing it right up front is important. Selling your house quickly is the best way to sell it at its highest price. All right, so now here I talk about our BLC. Or when I talk to the public, I call it the MLS. This is our old version of our BLC. It doesn't look like this anymore, but nobody knows that. You guys know what reverse prospecting is?
That I just did.
So,
Right.
well, here's what I tell people. So I explain what it is. I was like, everybody's going to put their properties in the MLS. It's our realtor database. We can all go search and find the properties that we're looking for our buyers, but we can set up a search that matches and it'll automatically tell us. Underutilized feature of our MLS system is I can go in and say, okay, here's my new listing on Silas Court. Show me the realtors that have registered for this type of property. We've already got a built-in buyer group. And what I'm going to do, I've got this list here, and I am going to run through every one of these people and call them. I'm not going to email them because it's too easy to delete emails. I delete the emails that I get. I call these agents. And it would take me 30 minutes. And to be honest with you, most of this list initially are people that aren't really applicable. It's agents that have set up searches for prospects that aren't really real prospects and such. But every once in a while we'll hit on somebody, and then I'll do this once again every single week. And we'll come up with some new prospects, and those are generally newer hot prospects. And it's just a way that I am proactively making sure that people understand that your home is available and potential fit for their client. And then you see these little hearts and light bulbs. It's not like that.
Where can you find this on the BLC?
When you go into the reverse prospecting section, there's a way, it doesn't show like this anymore. It's a different format, but it's the same thing. It will still show whether somebody's client indicated interest in the property. That's when you've probably gotten emails saying your client has indicated that they're potentially interested in this. That's what this is. So I'll just say those are the people that definitely get the phone calls from me right away. Clients have indicated that they're potentially interested in this prospect because it doesn't, our MLS system is not very good at telling us that our client is interested in that prospect. So I'm just putting your house in front of this agent and say, hey, client's indicated a little bit of interest in my listing. Here's a little bit about it. And please put it in. That's it. I go, I'm going to say, in reality, buyers are going to find your house on the internet. They've already been searching for houses before they've ever contacted an agent. Keller Williams is going to have your house on 350 plus websites. Most of them, honestly, don't really matter, but it's going to be on the big ones like Zillow and Realtor.com. It'll be on Keller Williams. It'll be on my own website. I'll show you that in a moment. We want to make your house look great. I'm going to hire a professional photographer, take great photos. We want it to be emotionally compelling. Depending on what their house is like, I'm going to show them. I will insert different photos depending on. I want to pick photos that look like a house like theirs. Right, so if it's a $200,000 house built in 1899, I'm not going to show them a 1.5 million house on guys, and vice versa. So I'm going to use applicable photos. I'm just showing a few examples. Then I'll talk about QR code and how I'll have that on flyers. I'll say that we want people to use these. We want people to go take a look at the nice high def pictures of your house. We'll have a flyer box out front, but it's only going to give some basic information. What's really emotionally compelling to people is looking at these nice high def pictures floating by, and again, depending on the house, I might have like a drone shoot or something like that that I'll show them an example of. And I'll show them an example right here. So here's an example of it. I'll pull out my phone and go, this is what an example of what your buyers are going to see. This one right here. Here's an example. Here's an example of the drone shoot. So, depending on the type of house, I'll show them.
Dramatic music, that's good.
That's what got me
The
that.
dramatic music.
Drone period. This guy interviewed 9 agents. So it's not my typical deal. He interviewed 9 agents, $1 million home. And he was old and he could not remember who was who, but he kept going, you're the drone guy, right? The drone guy, that's me. Flyers, property flyers in your home and outside outside your house. Here's an example, and again, it's got the QR code here. So
You get that from list reports, right?
advantages and disadvantages to that. Because list reports don't have a flyer available until it's listed. So you gotta edit and create it and deliver it pretty quickly, which I'm bad at.
How do you do it?
I bought it.
So you call Todd and say, Todd, can you help me out?
Yes, yes, but actually, I use a different guy's name, Dave Harding. Might still be Dave. Okay. Used to be a nice office. I don't know. He'll do them for me pretty cheap. I gotta edit them together, which I'm trying to do.
What's it?
Dave Harding. But yes, photographers will admit as add-ons depending on who the photographer is. Honestly, I thought mine was doing on this motorcycle trip, and I thought I was going to take some video. I never did it, but I started using it for real estate. And it's $500. It paid for itself on its first. Then I talk about social media marketing. I will say Keller Williams has like a direct partnership with Facebook. We can, if you guys don't know about this, we do. Once your property's listed, there's through command you can do paid ads on Facebook. And I'll talk to them about how we target based on geographic and income. I don't think everyone does this anymore. Used to be able to do that, but they got in trouble I think for fair housing kind of stuff. But I don't tell people that. I just tell people the ads are targeted for people looking at your house. And this was a real success story. So this was here's a house I had listed in East Carmel once, and it had a clay court, tennis court in the backyard, which is a defining feature of the house. Most people want to take backyard, but we targeted to people that had an interest in tennis, and that buyer found it on Facebook and called their agent and came over and bought the house. So that's it for social media. I'll move on. I don't use Instagram very much and that type of thing. So, and again, I honestly think most of this stuff is for show, and it's superfluous to having the pricing and preparation conversations. Staging, again, depends on the property. I may review again professional staging at this point, which I'm a huge advocate of. If the property is vacant, you absolutely want to stage it if you can get people to do it. Also, yesterday I said it's super dated. They're unwilling to do so. We'll see, it will help dramatically. But you'd be shocked. Crappy houses, staged well, look so much better.
Like,
I use Snodgrass Solutions, Snodgrass, this office. What I like, what makes it easy to sell is pay at closing. You don't have to pay up front. They'll come look at the house, provide, tell you what they think should be done, provide you an estimate, and have your seller sign it, but it's payable. They don't care for the most part how long it stays on the market.
Usually like,
It's a flat fee. It's usually no less than, it's usually 2,000 to 3,500. But again, it's payable at closings, so somebody didn't have to write a check up front. That's the easy sell. And if I know that I'm going to be having a talk to somebody about staging, I will often have just pulled up on my files on my computer some examples of a house that has been staged. But again, even crappy houses, I mean, they will bring in rugs and all that type of thing. And it really de-accentuates all the bumps and bruises and crappy old carpet and stuff. I had one a couple of years ago that we painted the house. The carpet was awful. It was still a very dated house, and they came in for $3,000, and just huge difference. Here's a house from the 70s. Huge difference. But otherwise, I'll say, we talked about some things that we're going to move from your house. We'll take a walk back to the room. I've been there. Now, or we can set up and then literally, you guys might want to hit this a little bit more than me. Usually, when I'm at this point, I'll say, I can tell you all about Keller Williams if you want to hear it, but I'm talking, we all market our houses differently, and you called me, and so, given that you guys don't have as much history to relying on Keller Williams stats and that type of thing that's it. So then I usually follow up with, do you have any questions? They might. It's usually not about this whatsoever. Usually it's going back. Hey, the auditor what time, you can list it this spring when you think is the best time. Usually devolves into that. What I do try to do, I try to get people to say, I will follow up. Is there anything here in marketing that you were expecting that I didn't touch on? Almost invariably, people say, no, I think you're pretty complete. So thank you for saying that you think it's complete. So the next thing we need to do then is just move on to some listing documents. Are you ready to do that? I phrase it that way because I find, I don't know, I read it early in my career. You get people say what you want them to say. It's their idea. So I'm getting them to tell me, yes, we're marketing this. And then just at that point, then I will review showing procedures and necessary, I would restate their goal. Okay, to get you the next step to Iowa, we just need to get listing documents. Whatever is next. Questions? Thank you. It's complete.
I think this class is so important for me specifically in what I'm doing because working with Kevin now it's like I'm setting a lot of appointments, but getting them to listings taken is like the next step to
Yep.
be able to convert.
Yep.
So
Getting the appointments taken is the biggest step.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, early on in your career, it's a numbers game. But you'd be shocked, I think, the number of people that are they talk to one person and that is it. Most people aren't interviewing multiple agents. Not in my experience. So
I've bought a house, like I've been in 3 different states and I've bought houses. And whether I was buying or selling, each time I would go look somebody up, read reviews on them, and just, okay, you're my person.
Yep.
That was it.
then again, particularly if it's personal referral, most people are just going on their friend's recommendation. You show up and you're not an idiot, you're prepared. You got a pretty good shot at it. Sometimes people are just oil and water. You know, I mean, so that's happened. I walk away and go, geez, people they don't like me. And sometimes I still list their house, and I was right. You don't like me, and I don't like them. It only lasts for so. And then, but sometimes you're surprised it didn't work right the first time.
have you had instances where you've taken listings and you realize that you guys weren't like the right fit for each other?
I'm very patient, and I will suck it up and stick it out. I had a lady once. She and her husband were getting divorced. I helped them. They were on my very first sale early in my career, and they referred me to a bunch of people, and they were getting divorced, and I sold their house. I was listed their house, got it under contract, and the buyer pulled out. Mine, but at that point, she just turned on me. She would just berate me, particularly once her husband was on the phone. Really, she's taking it out on me. I finally, I said, I was going to help each of them find separate houses. Gee, I think we both found it best that you went with somebody else to find your house. No, let's stick with it. I did it. By golly, a house.
Sometimes I
And it
feel like
continued and it sucked the whole time. But I got paid.
that's always good. I feel like I'm in a similar situation because the listing in Fortville, it's like she does not want to go under 270, and she's also expecting things from me that I know aren't my responsibility, like shoveling her snow for her because she's gone. It's like you can get your neighbor to do that. You know what I mean?
You could arrange for somebody to do it. Bill her.
That too. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be her expense.
You do what you got to do. Man. I mean, early in my career, I did all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I have carried, yeah, absolutely. I carried people's furniture. I painted a lady's block basement one time. I went in there late at night and I painted the whole dang thing by myself. But cleaned it all up. She was a nice old lady, so I just whatever needed to be done, so I did it. So, you know, you make those calculations. If it's somebody that's not going to be really receptive about it, or nice about it. I've rarely walked away from business. I shouldn't say this, but I call myself a listing whore. I'll take whatever it is.
I wanted to know how your conversation when you use the right
Where's
What is that? That's something I never really thought of.
I just, hey James, it's Todd at Keller Williams, and hey, I just want to call you real quick because you've got a prospect, and I'll have the number handy, but you've got a prospect that matches my listing on Rosewood Drive, and it looks like they marked that as one of interest. And I just want to check in and see how far along that client is in the process. This is a great house. If you look at the pictures, the pictures are representative. It's super nice and clean. And is that client really out actively looking right now? Say yes or no, and if they are, just say this honestly is a great house for you to show them. So I just wanted to give you a quick call and hopefully get it on your radar and show them.
You can make flyers too. So like you can get the list on my board of everybody that has a unique client ID. You won't be able to contact the client because they have other representation, but you can do like a mass email. So what I've done is just email myself and two, and then blind copy and pasted all the other emails of those agents and sent like a brochure, because sometimes, I don't know how you feel about this, but with the text, like I like to see a picture, because if I see something, I know automatically, like, oh, I know exactly which client is looking for this ranch on with the fence, and it either clicks or like we already looked at that, or like I know. But that can be kind of effective as well. I think if you do both, that is really good as well, especially in this market.
Yep. Anybody else?
Like put in extra effort. You're just sending the basic like, hello, so and so, your client, want to like whatever. Like I feel this, but if I see that you've like done something,
Yes. Personalize it a little bit with a photo, or sometimes if I've done like a walkthrough Matterport tour, they'll say, here's a link to it. Well, just try to change the standard if I'm emailing, which I will do that. Particularly if I'll change up the standard verbiage so it doesn't look like everybody's one that just had select. Any questions?
So you lost a client because Sean's parents were your clients now. So he took a client from you.
No, what are you gonna do?
It's better than water.
What was Sean like when he was a teenager? Was he still kind of quiet?
He was very quiet.
You're like, how's your day going? Oh, it's going all nice.
Yeah. He's out there killing it though.
We love.
All right, so I'll get. I think if I don't have it, I'll get all of your email addresses and I'll send you a version of what I just showed you. This, and just plug in your own info.
Todd, you're the man. Thank you.
And my office is just right down here on the left, so I'm here a lot. If you guys ever have questions, need advice, or whatever.
He's my neighbor.
Cool. What's next? You guys done for the day? You got another class? It's a lot of info.
This one might be my favorite coming up next, because it's like when you get the price perfect or like close to perfect, it makes everything easy.
Just teach.
Jennifer Goodspeed.
I didn't see her name on it initially. She was a teacher, and she's clearly very.
Totally good.
The onward real
Very good.
what's on top of there?
I don't care. Honestly,
I was wondering why
It looks
nobody
like
else
cookie
got
butter.
one. I was the only one.
I don't know, but
Tell
I'm
me
gonna,
if it is.
I'm gonna eat that.
Oh,
All right, guys, enjoy.
Thanks,
Have a good one. Thank you,
Tom.
Todd.
Todd, I'll see you later.
Okay.
No, he's just friendly.
You need our emails?
I think I get it from Kristen. All you guys sign up for the class? Okay. I did. Nick's already. And he's already been. But yes, I got the sign up sheet. Just got all of your emails.
Thank you.
They're all.
You guys know that Sean Harwick is the 317 agent. The 317
This is person.
agent. Sean, a really great guy that works in the office. He's the most followed realtor in Indiana on Instagram, and he started in 2020, and he's already closed, like 18 million so far.
Maybe shovel snow. Let us know and get your check.
I mean, from when I spoke with my seller, my job is to help her market and help her find a buyer. Whether or not she's gone or in her house, shoveling snow wasn't on my list of things I'm going to do for her. But it's a nice thing to do. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not.
Whatever it takes to get them to close. They can say, okay, we shoveling some snow for me.
I told you I had to write that $300 check. Cause he was mad at all those holes on the
That doesn't take very long.
Or you can hire just like on the neighborhood, you can
You could find a little kid somewhere in the neighborhood and
Well,
shovel snow.
Technically, the seller is responsible for the property up until close, meaning
Yeah.
that if it comes to lawn care or snow shoveling or any of that,
hire.
they are responsible. Now, as the seller's agent,
Yeah.
if they're out of town and they're not gonna be there for closing, I have shoveled the driveway. I have shoveled and it's like hour-long because they were out, but knowing it was our responsibility and we can find somebody, because that's what you have to do to make it done right, because I've also had people come back, or it's really funny when you're representing a buyer, especially if it's first-time home buyer that don't have a lot of extra funds, you go there and the yard's overgrown, or, and if there's an HOA or something like that, you don't want them to incur penalties. So, you do what you gotta do.
I've done it for open houses, especially this winter with all the snow we've had.
Yeah.
I just keep a shovel and a broom in my back of the car and
Mallet,
shovel it.
a rubber mallet will go a long way too when you're trying to put in those signs with frozen ground.
Yes.
Or a bottle of water to loosen up the ground, or sometimes I'll stop and get coffee, and I'm not a coffee drinker, but just to pour, to heat up so you can get the. Yeah, no, I'm on Jennifer's team. I'm here because she's teaching the next one, so I am. I.
What time is theirs?
We have an hour.
Oh, I thought it was 1 to 3.
No, it's
I
2 to
wish.
4.
Is she here?
I'm 99.
It
I
should
wondered.
be
I thought it was 1. Sorry, I didn't mean to walk in.
Yeah, no,
Well, I will
Just ate
sign
lunch,
up.
we're good.
Yeah.
If she wants to come early, tell her she can come. We're ready.
Maybe. Why do I have that? I think she's a. I don't want to know.
Well, then go get one.
I didn't know how many there were.
It said limit to one.
Well,
Yeah, one small one.
I did confirm this with you guys.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
Because
I
it
don't
has the
care.
little-
It's just delicious.
It has the little cookie on it. Does yours have a little cookie on top?
I don't see a cookie.
So did you guys just start, everybody?
I started about 6 months ago.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
nice to meet you, my name's Jamie. Started barging into your class.
Have we met before?
Maybe,
I feel like I've met you before.
Maybe we were at the Christmas party. Did you go to the casino night here?
Nah.
I'm relatively like newer because we transferred from the Northeast office.
Oh, okay.
So our team just merged with Goodspeed's team. So I'm now part of Onward, if that makes sense.
So were you with
I'm with
Tom
Tom
Endicott?
Endicott, yeah. So I've been on his team since 2018.
What's your name? Like your
Jamie Ross. So from Noblesville. Went to IU, like native Indianapolis person. I was IPS 84, Diamond Creek Gator, Craig Middle School, Clay Middle School, Noblesville. So
Social security is.
yeah.
address.
So I've been,
No,
so
I'm just
I've
curious.
been all over the city, and I'm the oldest of four, so I have two younger sisters and a little brother that are, well, my brother was a little bit. Oh, in a good way.
No, I got it.
We're all 2 years apart, so he's in Michigan now, but, he was at Carmel and then they transferred. Ryan Turner? He went to play and then he didn't get to start high school because my parents moved. So they transferred up to Grand Rapids for work. My stepdad worked for a bank, but like my sisters both ran, but like so like my sisters graduated in 90 somewhere in there, like from high school, but they were big runners. Like both my sisters ran cross country and track, and they were really into that. And then my brother played ice hockey for Carmel, he played football, like he played soccer, like he was in, like he did all the things.
So, good to find out.
28 in a couple of I'm old. Great, that's fun.
Only as old as you feel.
Oh, well then I'm not old enough to have a 28-year-old. My brain still works like I'm in my 20s and 30s.
It doesn't change, like age is very deceptive,
It is.
so you still feel the same that you've always felt, it's just your body doesn't really respond the way it used to when you were in your 20s.
It's just.
And you get the list of requirements of what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do, like as you get older. Like you do pretty good until you hit 40, and then all of a sudden it's like you get restricted. It's like, oh, you need to watch this number, or, like it's just, I get, a lot of people are like, oh, I thought you were younger.
So a lot of my friends are like athletes or former athletes.
Yes.
And they were telling me one friend is like 30th birthday. And they were like, put my socks on and
Yep.
on my 30th birthday, like the day I
It's
turned 30.
like
That's the
some
first thing
dumb
that
stuff.
it just all happened that day.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Well,
That's
I'll give you an example. So a couple of years ago, like as a kid, you fall, you get back up, not a big deal. Like, so I got a puppy during COVID. Our dog had just died, and we got another puppy. So I'm out like walking him, and like within the first 6 months, I had ripped a tendon in my right foot. So they put me in a boot. So I was in a boot for like 2 months while that healed, and then I like. No, it's like I ripped it because we were like climbing up a levee, and it's the way I stepped, and I ripped it. So then like a couple months later, like I slid and fell, and I stuck my arm out. I was giving him a bath, and the dog had shook, and I slid on the water. So like I throw my arm out. When I landed, it was locked into place. I dislocated my elbow.
Oh,
So when I went down, I heard a pop. It wasn't a snap. It was a pop. So I'm like, oh, what did I do? But like your arm looks fine. So I'm crawling around, and I get up, and I'm like, okay, where's my phone? And I'm thinking about all this, and like I went into they have a walk-in clinic. If you guys ever have anything orthopedic, shoulders, elbows, knees, ankles, highly recommend Forte over here off 31 and 106th Street. They have a walk-in clinic. Most people don't know that. It's a fraction of what it would be for the emergency room, but I'm like VIP there. But yeah, dislocated my elbow. So I was in one of those NFL things with like the crank that like adjusts your, so I had that for like 3.5 months, and I I had no idea like how long or like I've never, I've always been healthy and I'm like, so it's just like, it's stuff like that like when you're young, you just get up and it's like, oh, I guess I skinned my knee. Like, like Gen X, nobody cared. They gave you bacitracin or Robitussin and like you went on your way. Like, no, it's just, it's
Now
funny.
you might bleed out if you scrape it.
Yeah, so like I joke, like the other day,
Don't have any idea where that came from. I just saw it Friday today, did not see it yesterday, see it today, and like, I have no idea, it's probably the dog, probably
Like
did it.
sneeze too hard.
Right, who knows?
but that's just part of like aging is like, it's always like a surprise. Like I joke with my husband because we're obsessed with the Olympics right now. And Lindsey Vonn obviously is in skiing. She's not anymore, but I'm like, I was changing out some hardware, like interior, like door locks, and I like snagged my finger. So like I had a big band-aid and I'm like, it's right on my knuckle. It hurts. And I'm like such a baby. And then I'm like, and yet Lindsey Vonn, like who just turned 41, is like skiing like Olympic downhill with a shredded ACL. I'm like, I'm a wuss.
I can do.
Well, this is better to be early than late.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
I thought it was 1 to 3.
No, if she doesn't come,
No, you'll want to. 'Cause this will be a good class.
no, I already know how many of these you can throw away. 1 hour power nap.
Did you go to IU too?